Welcome back, Rich Nation. My name is AJ, and today we are going to be watching the final episode of Season 4, Episode 25. It's a little bittersweet, because we have finally came to the... I haven't had to necessarily wait. I mean, for the most part, other than these last two episodes, there was a tiny gap between the dub episodes. But for the most part, through watching My Hero, I have not had to wait at all. And now I'm going to feel your guys' pain on having to wait until Season 5. We still have the second movie that I need to react to at some point, and an OVA. But outside of that, there's no more My Hero content, so it's kind of sad. I have to wait, and I can't really complain because you guys have had to do it forever. I've had that fortunate thing where I could have technically just binged everything because I had so many episodes to watch. So that was kind of the benefit. But now I'm where you guys are at. We're on the final episode. We get an Endeavor fight. I'm excited. I hope you guys are. We're going to be reacting to more shows after this. There's going to be there's going to be more that replace this. As recording this, I'm not 100% sure what it could be. One of Overlord, it could be Assassination Classroom, it could be Seven Deadly Sins. There's at least one of those shows going to be on this channel in this slot. So just look out for that. On Wednesdays and Sundays, there's going to be a new reaction show. Just give you a heads up when this goes up on YouTube. But maybe I can write it in the pin. You guys can look up on the pinned comment. I should be able to tell you guys then what the show is going to be. But anyway, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, smash that like button, hit that notification bell. The 2 episodes of the new show should be on there right now on patreon.com/ajrich123. So and all my other shows. So check that out, and let's go ahead and start.
It's supposed to get kind of chilly next week. That sounds
Todoroki's mom and sister.
It's never been our thing, huh?
I'm glad to see you're looking healthy.
She seems in a better mental state.
It's been about 10 years since he put you in here.
Of course, they're gonna feel like this resentment.
See those flowers?
So it's hard.
He knows they're my favorite.
Oh.
I only mentioned it once when we just met.
He dropped him off?
Dad's been here? I have no idea what he's feeling or how his mind works.
Endeavor is a complicated character.
But see, he is thinking about us.
You gotta give him credit though, like where credit's due. Endeavor, and that was actually a little surprising that he dropped off the flowers. I like that. We know he's improving and everything like that, but I kind of forgot about the other side. You forget about, when you have a hard pass like that, the people are still affected. Even if you are changing, it doesn't mean, you can't forget about. It's hard for the people that were part of your life to forget about the bad things that you've done. And in his case, the son definitely, and Todoroki took him. He's still, angry, but he's a little bit better now. But it takes time. But I love that he's going there, even if he can't talk to them yet. He's at least visiting. He cares. It's like he's just such a complicated character, and I'm really liking it. I'm really enjoying his character, because when it was first introduced, I thought he was a character that would eventually become a villain or something. He just had that type of personality, and that's what I thought but he's changed so much for the better that it's awesome.
Hey, Endeavor, I didn't know you could fly. I'm just not falling. Now stay alert. This thing's still moving.
I'm just not falling.
He's regenerating.
That is a way. It's like a jetpack in his legs.
Does that mean the Black NOMU have more abilities?
They have to. It can talk though.
This one can talk.
Yes. This one seems to have a personality.
Flash fire fist. Hell Spider.
Yep, serious right off the bat. And in the middle of the city. Which casualties can happen. That's the one downside. And the hero usually has to worry about that part. The villain's never going to worry about the casualties. So they can fight differently. Or fight full on.
Get yourself together now.
Holy shit.
It overcame my reverse
Really is like a jetpack. Holy hell. Gotta save everybody at once.
Sense them fierce wings. Screams.
Oh.
Breaths.
That's why he's number 2. He can do stuff like that.
So I'll focus on those in the most danger.
He has tough yet supple feathers. Each and every one of them is under his control.
Oh man, okay. Okay, I understand why he's number 2.
6 people in the
I get it.
section.
He's a good assist hero as well.
Fire fist. Hell spider! Slice and burn.
Holy, what the holy hell! That was a dissection!
You should stop yapping and get back in the air.
Love to, but when I lose feathers, it makes it way harder for me to fly. You guys,
There's always a
don't worry,
downside.
We got you.
No round the way.
That guy looks like a lemming.
Were they just stored inside its body?
So there was a bunch in one?
It has no interest in fighting someone weak. That sounds about right for
It's made for that reason, it has to be.
Focusing on me. This NOMU
Fuck.
is thinking.
Yes. That's the difference. And it can send other Nomus. This is definitely bad if they could recreate this.
I'm not great against power types, so I'm not making any guarantees.
Flash Fire Fist compresses and intensifies my flames into a single super hot blow. If I use it recklessly, my temperature rises and my body starts to deteriorate. Overheating has always been a problem.
Overheating.
It's what drove me. Reason for my actions.
What a great phrase, because it can be used in so many ways.
Guy, it's a one-man inferno!
Holy shit!
Let me try out my abilities. You won't be able to regenerate fast enough.
Motherfuck! Now that's a beam.
Can't be allowed to look pathetic. Not in this moment.
Not when you're the number 1. In the moment, you have to show this. This is your moment. You have to show your All Might moment. That's the best thing I can describe this as. Your All Might moment. Your moment that shows I am here, technically, without saying that. You're defeating somebody that looks undefeatable massively in a crowd like that. You have just been properly anointed as the number 1 hero. This is your moment. And I love the phrase he says, overheating. He's always overheated in everything in life, getting angry, going over the top to a point. But when it comes to in a fight, that's why it's worked for him so well. Overheating can be a good thing when it comes to fighting, but you want to be able to control yourself, control the heat, control the fire, and in this case, that's what he's realizing. And it takes a real person, a real hero to realize that and improve and change your way of thinking. And he notices it in the moment, in the thing of his fight. And obviously the number 2 hero realized that he needs this moment to show everybody, and he knows he's capable of it. I love that because I was doubting him, but when we saw the number 2's quirk with the how he was able to support and save people in the masses more than we've seen any real hero be able to do, number 2 made way more sense to me, and I'm glad. That's why I mentioned last episode, I was like, I think like it's hard to take this number 2 seriously but I don't want to set an opinion until I see everybody fight, because we can't gauge their strengths by the way they talk. So it was great to see that, but my god, this is awesome.
Watch out! It tore off its head and threw it out of range.
No, they're not gonna kill him off. No.
Endeavor.
They're not gonna kill him off.
Any stronger heroes around?
That would be a fucking wild card. That would be a wild card.
Someone you can be proud of too. But as the man that you call father.
This would totally flip the script. Holy shit. Please, I really hope he's not dead. After all that character development, after all that improvement, you step up. This is like, I swear to God, he better not die here, because that's like something Attack on Titan would do. Build up a character and then kill them the fuck off. Like, no, you cannot do this to me. This is not the route that would totally be surprising. It would flip the script of My Hero 100%. Yes, we've seen some deaths, but we haven't seen something where you build up a character like this to break him down and kill him. I really hope he's not dead. I'm assuming, like I said, with My Hero, we've seen some characters die, but we have not seen a character like this. So I'm going to make that assumption that they're not going to, but man, have they put him in a spot where I didn't think he was going to get overpowered to that point. How would it would change so much? Like, think of if he dies here, if Endeavor dies here, how that would turn the tides to the villains 100%. Why? Because you had that number one, he retired. Then you have the number two that takes that number one and is supposed to be his proving moment, and he gets defeated in front of you, in front of everybody. That would shake up everything, and it would change. The villains would be ahead 100%, because how do you go back from that? I think the heroes would be scattered. Like, it would be very, very tough. That's why I'm hoping it does not happen, because that would change everything. I would say that would be something I would never think of any way in hell if they kill him off. There's no fucking way. Or at least severely okay, good. I was gonna say, you can't let him. Yeah, it's definitely damaged. This is your moment. Just overpowered. How do you beat this?
No better than anyone. You can't repeat what All Might did. There's no way you can live up to him. That's why you gave up everything back then. Because it drove you crazy.
That would be the thing to do, but you can't.
I know you don't want to hear this.
You can't.
And maybe you can't accept the truth right now, but our father never gives up.
That's why he can be number one. That's that similarity between him and All Might. And I'm sorry I'm pausing a lot in this episode, but I have to. With Dub, it's really hard. I can't talk on it. I have a very hard time talking on it. There's a reason why. Obviously he didn't want to be exactly like All Might. You can't replicate it, but there's a reason why All Might was number one, not just because of his personality and to the press and like his upbeat personality. It's because he never gave up, even though he knew he could get beat or anything like that. That's the true hero. He never gave up. And that's the big similarity between him and Endeavor. The undeniable like fire in their stomachs, fire that never goes away. And for him, literally, Endeavor, the fire never goes away. But he is driven, and that All Might was driven. Oh man, I'm loving this. See, that's why this was the moment, because they're in a big crowded city.
Gotta be kidding.
They've been so used to All Might, but they need to believe in him.
So you know then?
It's bad.
Just because All Might's not here, you're losing it, man. We need to run. Let's hurry and get out of here. Do you know what he's doing?
He is a symbol of hope.
Endeavor's risking his life for our sake.
So you regenerate too, hero. You are the same as me. I'm nothing like you. I can barely even move my body at this point.
He has more power than I thought.
I'm thankful for the pain. It's keeping me conscious. I won't let this end here. Turning the heat up more, even hotter.
This is.
You showed your hand earlier.
This is it.
This is what I need to destroy to end you.
This is a number one.
Can't give him time to react. I'll go beyond my capabilities.
Beyond.
I won't stop fighting until I turn this ugly bastard into ash.
And you have somebody to help you too. That's the difference.
My feathers can't do much.
Believe in other
against
people.
Destructive power, but I can match it in speed. I was watching you, so I understand. There wasn't a single other person who seriously attempted to surpass him. You were the only
That takes
one.
drive. People miss the small things.
Honestly, you made it pretty damn awkward sometimes.
The things that are in the heart, that's in the center.
And add my speed to your firepower. With that, you'll have one final push. This is it!
To become stronger than anyone.
My wings aren't strong enough. It's gotta be you.
Fuck yes! It's because you got past. He's not used to losing. He doesn't know what loss is yet. So like a normal person,
He doesn't have enough
he'd start getting
firepower.
mad.
Listen to me.
What?
NOMU, created to have multiple quirks.
Wait, is he sacrificing himself?
Bioengineered freak obsessed with strength. I'm watching you.
Everybody's watching.
Sorry, my feathers are toast.
Guy, I won't have to worry about collateral damage.
I get it.
Another
Right
thing,
there, you don't have to
another
hold
thing a hero
anything
thinks
back.
of. Not hurting everybody else.
You are me.
God, this.
The past or another future. Burn up. Be at rest.
That could have been him.
Damn school motto, but it seems appropriate. I'll go plus ultra.
Yes.
Resonance!
Oh my God! Why does it seem like it's stronger? He's stronger than All Might. It's like he actually took the #1 with this moment. Can we just say this OST, this episode is fucking top notch? Perfect.
Still standing!
Yes!
He did it!
It's literally the replication of when All Might on the TV screen.
Even though All Might has effectively retired,
Look at that!
cannot stop moving forward. We are the ones who must carry his symbol now.
They couldn't kill him off. That would have shaken it so bad.
We will.
Does Shadow? Is he in his own head or something? Oh, it's all the. It must be all the people that has the ability. Oh, the All for One and his brother.
You're the 9th.
He's the first. Holy shit. Holy freaking hell. Okay, there's lots to talk about. You will not want to click off here because I'm going to go in depth. And then I'm going to talk about the show in general at the end here. So let's just talk about that last scene that just happened. The power, everybody that's ever had it inside his head, looks like that we saw at least, I don't know, it was a quick flash, it looked like at least 4 of them. He said he's the 9th because we didn't see All Might, so it seems like people that have had it or whatever on there. It's hard to even, oh man, it's hard to even talk about it. I'm trying to like dissect this in my head right now. The first, and they've talked about this, but showing this vocally about him being the first person with the ability, and him actually meeting him inside his head. I remember All Might mentioned something like you might get closer with your ability as you move on. I can't remember the exact wording, but this was something that could be expected, but not to that. Like him actually meeting him inside his head and seeing the past like that. I wonder what more they can show. Can you communicate with him? Can you, because he was talking to him. So can you have a conversation with everybody? Can they give you advice? That would be getting advice from people that formerly had the power from the past would be the most useful information I think you could get in this case. So the more Deku gets a handle on this power, I feel the more he'll be able to communicate with this. But holy shit, it says season 5. It's like giving us something to look forward to. I want you guys to let me know in the comments down below. What time do they usually start the seasons for My Hero? Is it in the fall season usually? You guys let me know when we get, and is it delayed? That's a good question since a lot of stuff is getting delayed right now, when season 5 is going to happen. But let's talk about the episode. I knew it was going to be good because the last episode it set up Endeavor getting a fight, but I didn't realize the whole meaning and the actual meaning of this. And it kind of developed through the episode of what this moment meant. When it ended and he's standing there like All Might would, it emulates the number one, the symbol of peace. I kept saying the symbol of hope because it felt more appropriate, like in that situation. And maybe Endeavor has more of that. He's a symbol of hope, symbol of peace, obviously, but there is hope when he's still standing. He was down. It was like, I really thought in the moment when they were fighting and he got hit there, and that's gonna leave a freaking scar for sure. It looked like his eye, I don't know, it looked like his eye was gone in that moment because it literally burned all the way through. But I really thought they were going to flip the script and kill him off, and I think that would have made this a totally different show. That's why I'm kind of happy because it didn't happen, because you build up this character just to kill him off that fast with, I would say, arguably one of the better character development in this show. I think Endeavor's had the best redemption. And you guys let me know in the comments down below. Who do you think has had the best redemption in this show? I think Endeavor has got to be pretty close. You could say a few people. Technically, you could even say, Todoroki and Bakugo, technically, but Todoroki just because his personality changed after that fight with Deku and everything. But I think overall and how far he was gone, I think Endeavor has the most. Yeah, he's definitely the most redeemed, the best redemption arc of this show. Most redeemed character is him. Going from somebody that was the number 2 that literally could have been a villain. He even says in an alternate future, or this could have been me. This could have been he's fighting himself. It could have been him. The personality that's why that fight made so much sense. Somebody that's, a villain that's fighting just for power, just fighting strong people, powered up by and pure insane by power. It could have been him. And that couldn't have been you couldn't have said a better sentence. It definitely could have been him. And you just have to, those moments, the OST, let's talk about the OST running through. I didn't get to talk about it that much, but the music in this episode, yes, we've seen good music through some of the fights, through some of the better fights of this show, but I think this one has to take the cake. It has to. The music was just perfect. It was perfectly placed. It put me in the moment immediately. I think the thing I like about My Hero the most is when the toughest moments and the best fights that matter happen, they make you care. It's not just a fight to fight. The fights matter. And in these intense moments, it for me, I can't help it. It drives me into it. It's something that I've some of the shows that I remember fondly as a kid, like Dragon Ball Z and stuff. The things that caught me the most was it's not every fight. It doesn't need to be a fighting show. It's when there's a fight, it matters. There is there's things that are happening. There is actual things, bad things that can happen. You know what I mean? There is absolutely, you have stakes. There's the right word. There is stakes at play. There's high stakes and you care. It makes the viewer care. And that's what happened to me in this episode. It made me go from, this is going to be a good fight. Because there's two different things. There's this is going to be a good fight. Oh, this was a cool fight. To holy shit, this person could die. I really, in that moment, in the halfway of this episode, I thought he was going to die. I was hoping he wasn't, but I was like, of course, they're going to kill him off. And that's a good episode. When you can make the viewer think somebody's going to die that you care about, that you built up, and put them in that moment with high stakes. That's what makes a good fight in a show. And that's what sold me in this episode. But also Endeavor's growth, it showed it in full, showing his family, showing like his family talking and about him visiting. Like, I think the best thing was he is not the same person from the outside. Like, from the outside, you think he's one way and he's actually another. He's just, as he said, overheating. He's always overheating. It doesn't mean he's not a good person. And it's somebody you didn't think would be a good person at all. Like, at all. See him in the season 2 when he shows up. There is no, I like burned with hatred, like, through him. Like, even he didn't seem like a redeemable character. And you put that much, like, that's just good writing. That's just straight up good writing. I have to applaud my hero. Like, even they were able to make some of the episodes that seemed very like slice of life, less like fight heavy episodes interesting, but they also can make the actual fights mean more than just an actual good fight. And I love how they combined it. They combined the fight with character development and true stakes all in one. And I gotta give it credit for that. Holy shit. It's like, I'm gonna have to take some time to think about it, but this is definitely in the top 5. I would say this is in the top 5. I don't know about best episode because I would have to definitely break it down, but I don't know. Would you guys be interested in like a top 5 fights and me actually like talking about it, my top 5 favorite fights in like a video while we're waiting for season 5? You guys let me know. I really think, this is going to be hard to decipher, but anyway, overall, I'm glad the number 2 surprised me too. Let's talk about him. I thought when he was introduced, I thought he was just kind of not a joke, but just he wasn't proven. And he's, a young guy that ranked up really fast. Somebody that I would think like Mirio, who's young, strong, was strong and was able to fight and everything, like massively. It feels like if Mirio grew up, would be kind of like that, except different. Obviously Mirio has a different personality, but I'm just saying more so like where he would be placed and stuff. And I didn't really get much from him, but then it made so much sense. First of all, he's a straight up great, like probably the best support hero there is. His ability just works extremely well in support. Sorry, let me take a drink of water. Oh, but he was just a lot better than I thought he would be. And I love being surprised. I didn't expect a high action after episode 23. I didn't expect a high action episode like this where I would be. And I think that's what happens with my hero. I get thrown off where it's just like an episode comes out of nowhere where it meant a lot more than you would assume. And this was one of them. It was that moment. Endeavor got his moment to shine, but also now, as you saw, people believe in him. And it's all about symbol of hope, symbol of peace, but they have hope now. They have mass, and I can't stop saying that word. I really think he's the symbol of hope. He's able to give everybody that was down. They were completely lost. The League of Villains had the one-ups on everybody right now because that's why villains were coming out of nowhere. And they were easier to populate. And these books are coming up and pissing people off because there was nobody there. There was a gap. Even though Endeavor's there, he didn't show himself. So it was smart. It was smart to put Endeavor in this spot where he needed to prove to everybody. Even if there was high stakes, that's how you become the number one. You need to have those high stakes to show everybody that if there's a situation, you can diffuse it. You can defeat it. You're going to protect them. You're going to be there for them. If you don't have that person to do that, and it wasn't just, that's the thing, it would be bad, but it wasn't just Endeavor. That's the thing. It showed that they can work together as well. Endeavor's always worked alone. And that was the improvement here. He was willing to work with the number 2. He even was going to give him, I thought he was going to give him the last shot there. It seemed like he was willing to work with him. There was one point where I thought he was sacrificing himself because he was doing it. Reminded me, I hate to say it, but it reminded me of like a Dragon Ball Z moment where it's like Goku's grabbing somebody to sacrifice himself. Like it gave me it seemed like that type of moment to me where he was, and I didn't want him to die, but it made me appreciate him even more. I don't know if he was ready to do that in that moment, but it ended up not happening anyway. He was able to fight him on his own and fight him and defeat him, but he was willing to have help, and that's growth in itself. But it shows the people that there isn't, yes, Endeavor is that symbol of hope, symbol of peace, symbol of hope, but the other heroes are there too, and he's able to work with them. I think Endeavor's biggest weakness to the people was he wasn't approachable, but it seemed like he wasn't you couldn't gauge him. You couldn't tell he was going to protect you. It was just, you really couldn't tell. And now that he's willing to work with people and he's showed them, now people are going to believe in everything. It's going to, this is what this world needed, because it was just going this long downward slide. So they needed a boost and they got it. But, oh man, I knew this ending was going to be a long one. So going from that episode, definitely one of my favorites. But let's talk about the series in general, just real quick. Maybe I'll make a video for this as well, because this is going to drag a long time. And I know not everybody watches the ending of these, so maybe I'll make a separate video for this. But I will quickly say the show, the My Hero Academia is a great show. It's a show that deserves the recognition it gets. I think the first thing I heard when it was talked about, when I was being recommended shows, a lot of people were recommending this, but a lot of people wrote it off saying it was cliche, and it was an okay show, but it didn't do anything different. And I have to say, I beg to differ. I think this show does heroes right. I feel it's unique enough where it does its own thing. You can say that some character, it's hard to change, like you can make a billion different characters, right? And you can say, hey, that character is just that character from that show, or that personality is exactly the same. They're just, the thing is, it's about what they do, the situation they're in, the type of character they are, the situation they're in, the way they're drawn, the way they're presented, the tone of the show, the story. It's just all on its own. My Hero is all on its own. It's its own show completely. So I can't agree with that aspect of it being what was said before I started this. I completely am surprised and happy that this show really stands on its own and is able to make a heavy driven, like a show that was centered on, a couple characters, and then slowly make you care about all class 1A, and then adding 1B, like even 30-40 episodes later, remembering them and caring about them. But also the unique thing I like about the show is the villains. The villains are some of the best villains in this sense. The villains have an aspect where in some parts you root for them a little bit. And hear me out. And I want you to know, some of you guys might disagree with this sentence, but I feel like there's moments, especially with Overhaul in the League of Villains in that aspect, obviously villains versus villains, but it made me care about Shigaraki. It made me care about Overhaul, even though I didn't care about Overhaul in the same way. Like, Shigaraki is a great villain on himself because of the time he's gotten to develop and become a good villain. We get to see why he is how he is and how he takes being a leader and going it from there. Yes, we have All For One, who's a great villain on his own, but he wasn't a show that's not as good as this would make All For One the main villain and just not and forget about, and then the other villains would just be the fodder or the side stuff, and it would just keep going. Like All For One would always be like that main villain, but the thing is, yes, he's a center, but you have a set of villains that are like that you care about in a weird way. You care about some of them. You might care that but you might care that hopefully that they just get their asses kicked, but you are invested in the characters. I am heavily invested in the villains, and that's something I can't say about a lot of shows. It's a unique, I think that's one of the more unique things about My Hero is you're invested in the villains. You could watch the villains when, like, I'll give you an example. Twice is a great villain because they gave him enough development where you actually kind of care about him because he's got multiple personalities. He kind of has like he's kind of good, kind of bad. It's hard to really like tell, but also he's a character that you root for, even in fights against the villains and stuff. Like when Toga and him were there, and they could have technically fought like the heroes when they were falling down. They could have fought the heroes, but they were sabotaging, overhauling them. I would have been fine with them fighting like the heroes at that time. I wanted them to fight because I was invested in those characters and I wanted to see a good fight. And I didn't necessarily want them to get beat either. I would have rather had a stalemate because I am invested in those villains. The heroes are good too. And there's a lot of characters in the show that have the heroes themselves could be villains, just like Endeavor says, it could have been a villain in another future. They could, like, some of them, Bakugo, Todoroki, some of these guys in different circumstances, maybe not so much Bakugo because I think that's more of an appearance, just his personality. But Todoroki was going down a path where that could have been because of his upbringing and stuff. And that's another good thing. These aren't just like, the heroes aren't just pure heroes and good. They have flaws. Everybody has flaws. Even the way the quirks move, man, I'm gonna have to make a video because I could go so in depth with this. Even the way quirks exist in this, they're not perfect. They're not picture perfect. They all have a flaw. That's another great thing about this show is it's like this, and this, this, and this. But, when the quirk is explained, it's like, but they can't do this, or but this ends at this time. They actually have a downside. Sometimes a funny downside. Sometimes like we saw that guy in the other episode. What was it? A quirk was shame. Like the quirks can be out the most weirdest quirks ever, but they all have a strength and a very obvious weakness for the most part. So not everything's obvious, but they have a weakness and it's stated. I don't know. I just think it's kind of a good thing. But anyway, guys, I loved My Hero. I think it's a great show. I appreciate the recommendation. I appreciate you all watching me to the end here. I know when I first recommended this show, I asked for dub or sub, and you guys, a lot more people said dub than I ever thought would. And it was when I first started reacting. So I said, hey, and I watched dub anime too. I watched sub and dub. So I was okay with that. And I know it threw off some people because I do subs for all my other shows, but I'm glad the people that stuck and watched this, I appreciate it. Thank you. The dub voices were great. There's emotion that you can get as an English speaker. There's emotions you can get from hearing the voice and understanding it that sometimes it's harder to get from when you can't understand it. Yes, you can get, like, I will agree there are some amazing voice actors in the sub, but there is, and I watched, you guys behind the scenes, I watched a few of the episodes afterwards in the sub, and there are some voices I agree with. There's a few voices I agree with, and if I ever talk about this in depth, I'll talk about it. But there's some voices I agree with that are better in the sub, but All Might's voice in the dub is outstanding. Endeavor's is good. These actors can Mirio's during one of my favorite episodes is Mirio's episode, season 4, episode 11, and that you see there is voice talent in the dub. I know some of you guys don't agree with it, but there is moments that you can just strictly get from the dub that you would never think. And I emotions that it just really pumped me up on some. I was very pleasantly surprised by some of the voice actors' performance in the show. But yes, all the seasons, everything in the show. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching these. I hope you check out all the shows that I'm already doing, or the future shows, like I said in the beginning of this video. And I really hope you guys stick around. And if not, I'll see you guys on season 5. But look out for a movie for this. You might get another OVA and a second movie reaction eventually. Make sure you guys join my Discord. That link is down below, so you guys know what's happening especially if you're just invested in this show or just watch me for just this show. Make sure you join the Discord, or even you can follow on Twitter as well, at ajrich123. But Discord, you can see when you can communicate with with everybody, but you can also see when I'm reacting to something. Make sure you look at the community tab as well, because I write stuff on there, and I know not everybody can check that or checks that normally. Join the patreon.com/ajrich123 if you want to see a bunch of cool stuff over there. That helps me out. I greatly appreciate it. But thank you for watching. This has been amazing. I'm like, I don't want to stop, but I have to. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the movie and in season 5. Bye-bye.